Chris Carter is the host of a Sunday morning Los Angeles radio show called Breakfast with the Beatles. On this day, he was scheduled to interview Paul McCartney for the very first time, about an hour from then. All of a sudden, Paul's road manager called to say that Paul would be calling Chris for the interview at any minute. Chris couldn't find his notes, his reading glasses, or his headphones. His engineer hadn't even arrived at the studio yet.
This is probably them. Hello.
Good morning.
Hey, Paul, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks, Chris. How are you?
Oh, everything is great. So, a couple of things real quick. We're on, Sunday mornings. So we're going to, if it's okay with you, just make believe it's Sunday morning, all right?
Oh, yeah.
We have our hourly quiz. I thought it might be fun if we ask the question and we go to the line and you might have the answer.
No problem.
All right, so just bear with me here. We're going to make believe we're coming out of commercials. We're back, 97.1 Breakfast with the Beatles. Chris Carter with you until 10 o'clock this morning. Before we broke, we had a quiz question. I do believe we have a winner on line 8. Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. Do you know who took that photo of Paul McCartney?
I am actually the photographer's brother.
You are?
Yeah, it was taken by my brother, Mike McCartney.
That makes you Paul McCartney.
Yeah, it makes me the winner. Yay.
Congratulations, you are the grand prize winner of a brand new Ringo Starr album, Choose Love.
All right. That's just what I always wanted. I love it.
So how did you decide what songs from the new album you're going to play? Tell me about one more track. I read Beatles, your true solo albums, like the McCartney album, who George Martin suggested you give a tryout, right?
Yeah.
Paul, thank you.
You guys take it easy. Thanks, Chris.
All right, man. Take care, Paul. That was good. 18 minutes of Macca. And you did the quiz question.
Faringo. Let alone the girl.
Remember Mitzi McCall and Charlie Brill? They were the comedy team that was on the Ed Sullivan Show the first night the Beatles were as well. Wouldn't you know there was someone else of note on Ed Sullivan that night? A 16-year-old British lad, Davy Jones, who went on to be one of the lead singers in one of the biggest bands in all of the 60s, the Monkees.
Cheer up, sleepy Jean.
I wasn't sure when I arrived at the Ed Sullivan Theatre that all these barriers and these police and all these screaming girls weren't there for me. Then I met these suited, they were all in their little grey suits with the velvet collars on and the Capezio boots. And I thought it was another Broadway show, to tell you the truth. And then we got in the elevator and everybody went up together and I recognized the dialect, Liverpudlians, and I thought, hey, we still got the best soccer team in my town. And then I sat on the side of the stage and I actually watched, song after song being played.
You were sitting on the side, and how did it hit you? How did it...
Well, I'd never heard these songs before, I never heard the Beatles before. But as soon as I walked out of that theatre, I said, I want a piece of this. If all these girls are screaming for these guys, then I want a few of them screaming for me.
An Apple Scruff was a Beatle fan that came to Apple every day, Monday through Friday. Everybody knows the name of their business was Apple. And we hung out on the steps of their building, waiting for them to arrive. And then once they've arrived, we were waiting for them to leave. When George finished the song Apple Scruffs, he asked us to all come in. And of course, we were dumbfounded because we're never asked to come in. We're all sitting in there, and they turn on the song Apple Scruffs. Apple Scruffs, How I Love You. It was amazing. We were all in a little huddle around him, and he handed us this letter. Dear Carol, Kathy, and Lucy, now as it's finished and off to the factory, I thought I'd tell you that I haven't a clue whether it's good or bad, as I've heard it too much now. During the making of this epic album, I have felt positive and negative. However, the one thing that didn't waver seems to me to be you three, always there as my sole supporters. Thanks a lot. I really am overwhelmed by your apparent undying love, and I don't understand it at all. Love from George. He was a sweet man.
Recently, I went back to the house I grew up in on Long Island. When I got up to the bedroom that I shared with my younger brother David, a powerful and happy memory came to me. It was around 1965, and I was 5, my brother was 3. We were discovering the Beatles in this room. Our favorite song at the time was Please Please Me, and one day we were jumping up and down on our beds as we played the song over and over and over again on our turntable. I went to put on the song for a 6th straight time, when my concerned little brother said, "Don't put it on again. The Beatles are getting tired." And now, all these years later, my own children are jumping up and down on the bed to the same Beatles music that my brother and I did. And you know, just looking at their beaming faces, I really understand the total joy the Beatles have brought them. I hope you enjoyed these stories about the Beatles. I'll leave you with this last one, told to me by the singer-songwriter Andrew Gold. In the summer of 1964, the Beatles participated in a fundraiser at a home in Brentwood, California. Invited to the party that day were many Hollywood stars and their children. Andrew, 13 years old at the time, begged his showbiz parents to get tickets to the event, which they did. I took Andrew back to the house, where he met the Beatles 41 years earlier.
Yes, it brings me back. This is definitely it. I can just see them sitting there. Strange. It'd be fun to have a time machine, just go back. Groucho was here.
What do you want? Well, what are you going to do in there, Groucho? Are you going in to listen to Beatles
I'm
music?
going in and get drunk.
You wouldn't dare. Are you really?
Of course I am. Burt Lancaster, just a lot of stars.
I am a Beatle fan. A very big Beatle fan.
Here's Edward G. Robinson among the early arrivals at the party this afternoon.
A lot of stars and their kids, and that's why Paul remembers his party, because it was Hollywood. Here I was with my hair combed as much like a Beatle as I could muster, and Paul's leaning in because I was so nervous. I kept saying, "I'm Andy Gold," and he couldn't understand it because I was just muttering under my breath. And so John is cracking up at, laughing at me being an idiot. His hair was very, very red. I remember being struck by that, because up till then, it wasn't clear from pictures that how red his hair was. And they were here. Boy, I get that feeling. I could just see their suits. They didn't have the same kind of clothes as everybody else. They were very Beatle-ish. Paul got up and introduced himself to the other guys, that kind of stuff. And they sat there for, must have been like 2 hours doing this thing. And then in a flash, they were gone.
Who was your favorite Beatle?
I always liked
John Lennon.
Paul.
John.
Paul.
Overall, John.
George.
Ringo. I think McCartney.
John.
I'm partial to George.
John. Paul.
George.
I would say probably Ringo Starr.
John.
Paul.
John.
Paul.
George and Ringo.
Has to be Paul.
I'd have to say John Lennon.
What was your favorite Beatles song?
Oh, golly. Help.
Paperback Writer.
We can work it out.
Here, there, and everywhere.
Let it be. Across the universe.
Martha, my dear.
Here, there, and everywhere.
Hey, Jude.
Yesterday.
Till there was you.
In my life. This boy? Yesterday.
Ticket to Ride.
She loves you.
I like For No One.
I feel fine.
The long and winding road.
Long and winding road.
Probably a day in the life.
The masterpiece of Penny Lane.
Strawberry Fields.
Penny Lane.
Strawberry Fields.
Penny Lane.
The day in the life.
I Call Your Name.
Norwegian Wood.
Tomorrow Never Knows.
She's leaving home.
Get back.
Hard Day's Night. Come together.
I catch myself singing Norwegian Wood all the time. Da, what, da, 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 da.
The one thing, Jimmy, that's just blew me away was your lead guitar that took two people to do it with the Beatles.
Oh.
That you do And Your Bird Can Sing.
And Your Bird Can Sing.
I
Well,
just have to see what that...